Welcome to the Mindset Architect podcast, where it's all about creating the life you want, the business you want, and making a real difference. Join us in unlocking the code to true success. And now your host, Tony Caliendo, Master Coach with Rethink Coaching.
Welcome to the Mindset Architect podcast, episode number 137. I'm Tony Caliendo, executive coach here at Rethink Coaching and author of Less Over More. And as always, I want to start by thanking you for sharing your time with me. Time truly is our greatest asset, and the fact that you're willing to share and invest your time truly does mean a great deal to me. I want to share something today that I don't think we've ever talked about together here on this podcast or in any of our group coaching sessions, is the power of silence. And what I find amusing about this topic is it makes a lot of people really, really uncomfortable. And I was one of those people because I didn't realize how impactful silence can be in your overall success, in your overall journey, in your life, in your relationships, and how you get to show up, until I was in a place of chaos, constant chaos. I remember it was back in, I think, 2010. I was having a conversation with my coach at the time, and I was in a leadership role where I had a lot of responsibilities, a lot of people reporting to me, a lot of activity needed to be taken care of. I was taking over a business that was failing, so there was a lot of moving parts to get it back on track. And I remember telling her, I said, I just feel like I'm making all of these quick snap judgments and decisions, and I feel like I'm making the same decision over and over because the decision I made in the moment, it didn't really serve me long term. And so I had to keep revisiting it over and over. And I knew it was driving me crazy, and it had to be driving my team a little bit crazy too, because they were living all of the changes. And she asked me, and she invited me, what would I think about sitting in silence for 15 minutes? And when she said that, I thought, I don't know what that's going to do. And I really don't have time to sit and do nothing for 15 minutes. Yet, I trusted my coach. And we decided that it really wasn't possible for me to do that in my office because there'd be a knock on the door or a God, a minute coming. But there was a park less than a block away, probably, half a block from my office, that I could go to at any time during the day. I didn't need an appointment. I didn't need to make it any big formal event. Yet I could go, not have my phone, not be texting, no listening to music, nothing, just sitting in silence. And she didn't really prepare me for what I was going to discover during that time. And what happened was amazing. Truly, what happened was utterly amazing. I realized that all of these unconscious thoughts I was having, I was just pushing down by keeping busy, by keeping noisy, by not paying attention. And in that brief 15 minutes, I was able to get grounded and really hear what was going on versus shuffling and moving at a quick pace. Quickly, the 15 minutes turned into 30. Quickly, the one time at the park turned into multiple times because it was my safe space to go where I could have and enjoy silence. And I feel like it's really important in the world that we're living in right now with all of the notifications, interruptions, texts, DMs, phone calls, everything that comes our way, that silence could be one of the things that you could gift yourself that would be one of your better strategies for success, whether it's in your personal life or your business life. So I want to walk through some of the advantages. It is still one of the practices I do today. I talk about my morning routine, right, with meditation, prayer, and journaling. What I don't share is that I also spend time in silence. No music, no podcast, nothing. And it makes a significant difference. If I'm feeling really out of control during the day, I will practice silence, even for 5 minutes. And what typically happens during that 5 minutes is the most critical and important unconscious thought that's driving my results for that day will come up, and I can deal with it. So let's jump in and talk about how you can make silence work for you and why it is so important. And it may be something that you've never considered in the past, yet I want to invite you to think about it because the power behind it is unbelievable. So number one, just know that noise is the new norm. And it really is, right? It's costing you more than you think. if you think about it, right? You're listening to this podcast, we're scrolling emails, we've got conversations, notifications, text messages. And if we don't control it and we don't schedule it, it will just consume us. We tend to, I know for me, I tend to think is, oh gosh, I got to break in between appointments. Let me go listen to that book on Audible. Let me go catch up on my podcast. Let me go do this. There's nothing wrong with that. Yet we don't build in time for silence. We've normalized not ever being alone with our thoughts, filling every space, every minute with some type of stimulus, whether it's music, whether it's a talk show, whether it's, listening to a podcast. It can be anything, but we've really, really normalized that we don't need to be alone with our thoughts. Silence will feel uncomfortable for a lot of people. It did for me at first. I was like, I don't really see the benefit. And then I did. Noise creates false productivity. That's another reason why I believe we don't stay in a space of silence as often as we should, because we don't believe it's productive. I mean, honestly, if you thought that one of your key strategies for the day was to sit in silence and do nothing, you might tell me I've lost my mind because you don't have the time to do that. We must be busy at all times. This is sometimes when we feel like we've been on all day, but we haven't really gotten anything done. A lot of it is simply because we filled the space with noise. And noise is a problem or an opportunity. Think about it. If your mind is always full, there's no room for anything meaningful to land. There's just not if you're constantly filling it with noise and distractions. The number two thing to think about is silence isn't empty. It's actually where clarity lives. Those 15 minutes, 30 minutes in the park meant everything to me because it was providing clarity. I know for me too, there's times that I crave clarity and I know that I've got to create the space of silence. And my best ideas come out of those times of silence, not in noise. They come after that. They come when I give myself that break, when I give myself that moment. Think about some of my best ideas, and maybe some of yours, come from shower time. There's actually a study that I was reading that the direction that you stand in the shower, whether you let the water hit you on the front side or the back side, can affect your ability to create powerful thoughts. And it's funny why some people have their best moments or thoughts in the shower. Taking a walk, driving alone. I love windshield time is what I call it. Driving in the car with no music, nothing on, just me, the windshield, and the road. And it really does something therapeutic. So there are a lot of ways in which you can create silence. Think about it. If you're driving from appointment to appointment, if you just didn't turn anything on, it was just you and the car, you've got some time to think. Showers for me are probably some of the places that I come up with the best ideas. And I have to be conscientious that environmentally, it's not great to be in the shower for a long time letting water run. Yet it does something to me in that silence that triggers amazing creativity and thoughts. Processing versus reacting is a big part of this gift about silence providing clarity. When you've got clarity, you move into your decision making and processes in more of alignment because you're not reacting. You've had time to collect your thoughts. You've had time to get out of the chaos of the noise, and you're able to make better decisions. It's truly, truly important. Silence isn't just the absence of something. It really is the presence of clarity. I want you really, really think about it. It's not the absence of something. Like some people think in silence, we're absent of all things. We're not. It's actually creating the presence of clarity for you so that you can show up in a more powerful way. Number three thing to embrace about silence, if you choose to implement this, is that we feel silence because we're avoiding something. So we feel that silence is not productive. Yet what typically has happened is we're just avoiding something. Silence can reveal some of your greatest opportunities: uncertainty, misalignment, hard truths. And noise just becomes a distraction from processing or dealing with those things. This is what I love is in the silence, right? We've talked about this before. There's always thoughts are going on. We have 60 or 80,000 thoughts a day, and a good portion of them are negative, but a lot of what is happening on an unconscious level. And in the silence, we are made to be aware of those unconscious thoughts because we're not distracting it with conscious thoughts and talks and noise and music and podcast and interruptions. It's okay to get uncomfortable, right? It allows us to be one with our thoughts. It allows us to process those unconscious thoughts because think about this. Thoughts drive all results. And if we're not taking some time to process the unconscious thoughts, we're going to impact our overall results. If you never slow down, you will never face what is truly off in your life, in your business. Silence forces awareness. Think about that. Silence forces you to become aware of what is happening on an unconscious level and taking a break from the noise. Silence forces awareness. It's incredibly powerful. Silence doesn't create the problem. Some people think it does. It's like, oh my gosh, now I've got to deal with that because I slowed down. That's not the truth. Silence does not create the problem. It just exposes it. And I don't know about you, I am grateful when I am identifying a problem or an opportunity. Because if you don't, it continues to be a problem or a missed opportunity. So in those moments of silence, where it reveals some of our uncertainty, our misalignment, and the hard truths that we don't want to face, ultimately, we become aware of problems and opportunities. It's just exposing it. You get to choose what you do with it from that point. But what a gift to actually have clarity around those things versus letting them run in the background and dictate what is happening in your life, in your business on the daily. Number 4 thing for you to consider is your results are being shaped in the quiet moments you don't take. Hold on to that for just a second, right? Think about that. Your results are being shaped in the quiet moments you don't take. We've talked about the thought flow model, right? Thoughts, feelings, actions, results. I think it's episode 70. If you're not familiar with it, go take a listen to it so you can learn about it. Yet our thoughts create our feelings, emotions, energy, impact our actions and our results. If we are not taking the time to connect with our thoughts, those unconscious thoughts that are really driving a lot of what is happening, you are creating results in the moments that you don't take the silence to discover the true thought of what's going on. We have to pause. We must pause. We're missing so many opportunities if we aren't. Without silence, you're going to react instead of choose, and you're going to repeat instead of rethink. Silence gives you the gap to choose a better thought. If thoughts drive all results, why wouldn't we want to have some time in silence to deal with the thoughts that are driving our results? Remember, the majority of our thoughts are negative. If I spend some time in silence dealing with the negative thoughts that I am running in the background, you're never going to hit that goal. You're not that person. You've never made that much money. What makes you think you can do this? People are seeing through that you're a fake. You are an imposter. All of those thoughts are happening, and we do not allow ourselves the privilege of processing those when we don't embrace silence. You're forced to deal with those unconscious thoughts in silence, and that is where your greatest breakthroughs can happen. If you don't create space, your default thinking creates your results. That's the beauty of silence. Number 5 thing for you to consider or embrace on this journey of silence is silence can be your competitive advantage in a loud world. Most people don't take advantage of this. I do believe that very successful people, high performers, have embraced moments of silence throughout their day to ground themselves, to be in the right place for making appropriate decisions, to deal with the noise that is going on the daily. Everybody is typically rushing, reacting, consuming. Think about the world we live in. It's about more. It's part of the reason I wrote the book, Less Over More, is we consume ourselves with rushing, making things happen, reacting versus pausing and responding, consuming to make ourselves feel better. That's noise. And in the silence, we can think clearer, we can make better decisions, and we will lead better. Those are critical pluses to have when you're in a leadership role or you're looking to have the best business or life that you can have. Silence sharpens. It will sharpen your skills as a leader, your decision making, your emotional control. That's probably one of the biggest things. If you're triggered and you get angry quickly or frustrated quickly or experience anxiety, silence can sharpen your knowledge so that you don't respond out of emotion and you can respond out of logic. You can make better responses and decisions. Think about the ability to have better conversations, more intentional actions, stronger presence. Those are all things that are so important in how you get to show up. In a world where everybody is talking, the person who can sit in silence wins. In a world where everybody is talking, the person who can sit in silence wins. I promise you, if you interview top-level executives at some point or points throughout their day, they built in the practice of silence. I think I've shared with you all, in the morning I do my meditation, but I also do a thought exercise, which requires me to sit in silence with my thoughts. I don't have music on. I don't have anything going on, but I really just sit and write down all of the thoughts I'm having for 10 minutes. And at first, the 10 minutes was excruciatingly long, and now the 10 minutes flies by. But in that time of silence, what I am doing is I'm extracting all of the unconscious thoughts that I'm having, and I'm putting them on paper. Then I get to choose which ones are having the greatest negative impact on my life and my business, and I address those through the thought flow model. I practice silence every day. I practice it multiple times a day. And when I am feeling very off balance, reactive, I know that I need to just shut down for 5 minutes even. 5 minutes can get me grounded and centered because the power of silence doesn't take a long time. You don't have to sit in silence for an hour. 5 minutes can sometimes be all you need to get back in alignment and to get rebalanced. So think about it. Let everybody else talk. You sit in silence and you're going to win. So how can I start using silence without overcomplicating it? Start little. Start with 5 minutes. For me, 10 minutes in the morning with my thoughts. I've done my meditation. I've done my journaling. I want to spend some time in silence with my thoughts throughout the day. Get in your car the next time you're going somewhere, whether it's running to the grocery, going to an appointment, doing whatever it is, dropping a kid off at a sporting event. Drive back with no audio on, nothing on. Sit after a meeting before jumping into the next thing. We tend to schedule things back to back to back to back. Practice 5 minutes of silence in between your activities. It can create an incredible difference for you. Go for a walk without your phone. Go for a walk without your earbuds in. Go for a walk with no agenda. Just go for a walk. Be present in your thoughts. Process what is happening. It will feel uncomfortable at first. It's like one of those exercises where somebody tells you to sit and don't think for 30 seconds and all you can do is think about you're not supposed to be thinking. It's similar to that. So it may feel really uncomfortable at first to be sitting there going, okay, I know I'm supposed to be sitting in silence and paying attention to my unconscious thoughts. This is the craziest thing I've ever done. I don't think this is working for me. It's going to take a moment to train your brain to calm down, to train your brain to trust the process. If it's feeling uncomfortable or you're having some thoughts that are distracting you from sitting in silence, that's the signal that it's working. You've got to get into the space of uncomfortable with silence before it becomes comfortable and it becomes a great resource and tool. For me, I have simply said before I go to do any exercise in silence, I'm going to embrace whatever comes out of this moment because it is exactly what God, the universe, whatever you believe in, is needing me to hear right now. And I trust that what I'm going to hear from myself with some unconscious thoughts is exactly what I need to deal with in order to move forward towards the life in the business that I desire to have. I don't think we need any more information sometimes than we already have. We need to process a lot of what we have already learned and ingested. Many times you just need more space to hear what you already know. That's the gift of silence. Embrace the uncomfortableness of it. Create a bunker for it. So I work from home, but I don't work from home alone. If I truly want silence, I learned from my great friend, fellow author Tanya Katan, to go for a walk and to just get up and go for a walk outside, even if I walk to the end of my driveway, to the mailbox cluster, or to the street corner and back. No music, no phone, no headphones, no podcast, no nothing, just me and walking. I've learned that I have to create the space for true silence, because if somebody else is here working from their home office, Reagan, and I can hear them talking, it's not silence. If I can hear the surround sound throughout the house, the music that's playing outside of my office, that's not silence. So if you're going to do this, you've got to get really purposeful about creating silence. Now, occasionally I will put in noise canceling headset just to block out external noises, yet I'm not playing music through it. I'm really just using them to create a vacuum of silence. We have been taught that more input creates better outcomes. Go to this program, take this class, listen to this podcast, get on this webinar, go listen to this person speak. We've been taught that more creates better outcomes, but the truth is more noise will often create confusion. So be selective about what you're allowing to come in and honor the space of silence. Silence is where clarity lives. When you're in a space of clarity, things happen at a quicker pace. You're moving towards your goals and your desired life much quicker. Silence is also where alignment happens. You get back in alignment with your core values. You remove the distractions. Silence is where better decisions are made. If you want more in your life, start by creating less noise. I can't stress it enough. I'm hoping that this has been a moment where you think, I've never really been intentional about creating silence. Let me give this an opportunity. Let me start small with 5 minutes a day and just see what it does for me. Take advantage of it and try it out. Try it on for size. I will tell you, my life, my business, everything that I experience has been so plussed by experiencing and creating opportunities for silence for myself throughout the day. I hope this helped you out. I know this is kind of counterintuitive, right? I'm telling you to seek silence, to not fill your space with podcasts and all the noise. Yet what I would say about that is, just like my other important opportunities on my schedule, I schedule silence. I schedule time to learn, podcasts, webinars. I schedule those things. So not saying stop taking information in. I am saying become intentional and purposeful about also putting in your schedule silence. It will change so many things for you. I would love to hear from those of you who implement this and let me know your discoveries. Go make it a great week, embrace it, and we'll talk to you soon. If you enjoyed listening to this podcast, you must come check out the Mindset Architect Group Coaching Program. It's our monthly program where we explore the power of your mindset, help you identify what you truly want in business and life, and then help you reach those goals. Come check us out at rethinkcoaching.com/group-program. That's rethinkcoaching.com/group-program. We'll see you there.